Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sari and this is day 13 of the Simplify Your Life challenge for 2022. This challenge is based on an ebook by YouTuber muchelleb. I will link her channel and the ebook down below. There is a playlist if you are interested in following along with the whole challenge from the beginning that I will link on the screen up here. With that, let's get into day 13, decluttering a category of your choice. This is obviously going to vary a lot from person to person. It's a little bit difficult to come up with guidance and guiding questions for this because I don't know what you're decluttering, and what you're decluttering is probably not the same thing as what I'm decluttering. But I appreciate that this challenge allows for that level of flexibility to say, we probably missed something. I'm actually going to be doing this across a couple weeks, and it will be adding additional category of your choice days at the end, as it were, because there are a lot of things in my life that do not fit into these neat bins, and I think that's probably the same for most people. So I just wanted to walk you through the process, and if your life fits neatly into all the bins of the ebook and the challenge, great. You do you. I mean, you don't have to do any of this. What I have chosen to do is to declutter my knitting, sewing, craft room space, which has now just become the catch-all room for stuff we don't know what to do with. It's in a separate room, sort of a sun room if we got sun. Well, that room is the only room in the house that gets sun, but it's still cold in there in winter because it's all windows. It's easy to close the door on it and mostly just ignore that it's there. And we do that. We just close the door, pretend that room doesn't exist because it's not in the main living space. You can see it from the living room, but you really have to walk over there and try to see it. My enthusiasm for knitting and sewing had really been waning over the past year or two. Honestly, I just haven't been doing it. I haven't had a passion to do it. I haven't wanted to do it. And my energy has been increasing around other things instead. So I neglected that room a lot because I wasn't even using it. I didn't care. I was like, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff in there I don't want to deal with. I don't even want it. I don't even use it. I didn't need that space to be clean and organized because I wasn't using that space. However, more recently, for whatever reason, I've been rediscovering my passion for that, and my energy's been swinging back in that direction. I think some of that has to do with the declutter because I went through my wardrobe and I identified a lot of things that I had knit or made that I liked but didn't fit, or I used to like but wanted to do something different with, or just kind of needed rethinking. And so I started re-envisioning sweaters that I had made, rethinking some of the things I had sewn and saying, oh, I like this, but it doesn't fit anymore, or it never fit in the first place because I was never actually that good at sewing. So I just kind of circling back to that, and then also these thoughts of being more mindful about your wardrobe. It's a lot easier to be more mindful about your wardrobe when you're the one creating things for your wardrobe. You can really customize. You can really say, this exact thing is what I want. And trying to think through that has kind of reignited a passion for this. Plus, it's just a natural fluctuation for me and what I have energy for at a given time. This happens periodically, often as we are getting into spring, that I will just all of a sudden be like, I want to sew all the things. I don't know why, it just happens. For all those reasons, it is time beyond time, past time, for me to clean up that space. If you've seen previous videos, you've seen that room a few times. You saw it in the decor video briefly and in the paper declutter. And if you've seen that, you know that this is going to be a big project. I'm not sure that I will actually end up getting rid of a lot of things other than the box of things I had already decided to get rid of in that room and hadn't done anything with, because taking photos of it listing it online and then dealing with selling it seemed, and still does seem, exhausting. I really should just donate it and stop being so concerned with the sunk cost of it all, but it is thousands of dollars worth of yarn. And something in my brain is like, you're just going to give that away and somebody at a charity shop is going to sell it for $0.25. It feels bad to me, but also I'm not using it. I don't want to use it. I bought it at a time in my life when I was not making mindful purchases around what I actually wanted and was buying things because I liked the name. I liked how it looked in the skein. I liked the fandom it was representing, whatever. And I wasn't thinking, how am I actually going to use this? I think a lot of knitters have this problem. We go to yarn shows and say, ooh, pretty, and buy one skein of something, and then you get it home and you're like, what am I going to do with this? It's time for me to let go of that stuff. And if that means donating thousands of dollars worth of yarn and getting nothing back in return, so be it. That money's already spent. And I think it might be worth doing that because my time to take photos, list it, and deal with selling it is also valuable. I do want to get that room, regardless of whether or not I get rid of anything else, majorly organized and put away. Hopefully, I can then take better stock of what's in there and prioritize what needs to happen with that stuff and what needs to go so that I can make a better plan to follow up with fixing the things and selling the things so I can get rid of, ideally, some more shelving. You heard about this in the decor video, that there are a couple shelves in there that I don't want. One of them is very big. But until I know what I have and what I need room for, I cannot effectively say, oh yeah, that shelf can go, because I might still need it to store things. I'm not sure. So I need to organize first and then make the plans. With that, here are my guiding questions for today. Obviously, yours may vary way more than usual, depending on what you're decluttering. And I only have 2 questions. It's up to you to do a lot more of the work than usual today to say what questions make the most sense for me. But we've been doing this for 13 days now, so I think we're all pretty good at writing our own guiding questions, and my guiding questions have never needed to be your guiding questions. So you do what makes the most sense to you. Is this worth keeping? As I mentioned previously, I went on several sprees of buying fabric and yarn, especially yarn, that I either thought I'd use someday or I thought it looked good in the skein, but I didn't have a specific project in mind for it. That resulted in me having a lot of crafting materials that I thought might be good to use. I have fabric that I thought, oh, I could make project bags out of that. That would be cute. I make them and I sell them. Sort of. Not really. It's pretty much like a barely existing business at this point. I never actually make most of the bags. It's not like I'm doing it all of the time. So I don't need years worth of fabric to make bags allegedly because I think they might be cute when I'm not even doing that thing. Do I need to keep that fabric? Or can I pass that on either via donation or selling it that someone else can use it for something immediately, more practically? Same thing with yarn. I have a bunch of single skeins of yarn and I'm like, look, I don't need 10 hats. I already have 10 hats. I don't need 50 hats. That's all they're good for because it's one skein of something. And either I'm making it and giving it away to someone or I'm knitting it for charity, which maybe I could do. But if it's something that I wanted to make for myself, I don't even need that thing. A lot of times the yarn looked pretty in the skein, but then you start knitting it and you're like, oh, I don't like the way this knits up. That's a pretty common occurrence to me. Even with yarn I bought sweaters for. There are sweaters that I have now that I was like, I hate striping. When you get variegated yarn and it pools and stripes, I hate how it looks and I don't want to wear it. All of those cool variegated yarns I bought, it's like, well, doesn't really knit into a garment you want to wear. So is it worth having? A lot of it is colors that won't even look good on me. I don't know. You buy yarn for various reasons, and I need to be really honest with myself about whether or not I'm going to use that to make a thing that serves me that I will actually want and actually get use out of. Because part of knitting is adding items to your wardrobe. And if this declutter and this simplification and this minimalism is saying we need to be honest and think about our wardrobes, well, that also includes what I make to bring into my wardrobe. So I shouldn't own yarn to knit a sweater unless I know that that sweater is going to have a place in my wardrobe. I shouldn't have yarn to knit hats when I know that I need to go through all of the hats that I own and get rid of most of them. All of the above. I've done some of that work and already said, if this is a single skein of not fingering weight yarn, then it can definitely go because I don't need it. If this is a color that I don't even like, it can go. I don't need it. Sometimes if it's a skein of fingering weight yarn, I realize that can be made into socks, but my sock drawer is full. I don't need socks. So that can also probably go. I just need to think through it deeply a little bit more and come to terms with parting with a lot of it, really. In addition to the yarn, I have both fabric remnants and short yardage remnants that are left over from things at the ends of projects. And I hang on to that stuff because I'm like, I don't want to be wasteful. I don't want to throw this out. The fabric is sometimes big enough to use for something, but a lot of times is a weird shape because you cut a curve out of it and it's not super useful. And that can go to textile recycling and be recycled and repurposed into something new or donated to animal shelters to use as bedding or cuddly things or whatever. Donated to quilting places or quilting groups that they can use, short yardages, things like that. I don't need to keep a whole bag of fabric remnants. My rule is, if it's not part of a project that I've set aside to rip apart and repurpose into something else in terms of yarn, and it's not at least 25 grams, which is something that's big enough to knit like a hat for charity or something, then it should go. And same thing with fabric. If it's not at least a 10 by 10 square, big enough for me to make a small project bag with it, basically. It would have to be 2 10 by 10 squares. Then it can go. If I feel like it's enough that it's actually usable, it can stay. If not, it definitely needs to go. And even some of the stuff that I think is definitely usable can leave. The wool yarn can go into the organics recycling. The fabric remnants can go into the textile recycling. I don't need to hang on to yarn balls that big and weird shaped little fabric remnants. I just don't. Can I / will I fix this? A lot of what's cluttering up that room are projects that need fixing. From things that need minor alterations to things that need to be ripped out and just started over. I need to go through that and consider whether or not I will actually fix it, if it's worth fixing to me, or if I don't have the skills to do it, if I don't even like it enough to bother fixing it, if I don't have the materials to fix it. From there, I need to keep the rest of it and put it in an order and actually make a plan to do the mending or the alterations or the ripping out and recreating so that I can get those things out of there. They take up a whole shelf. They're scattered all over that room. And if I fix that stuff and get rid of it, one, it can go back into my wardrobe, which expands my wardrobe without me having to spend any money at all. I just need to fix the things I already have. And two, it frees up some shelf space so that I can get rid of that huge shelf and bring something smaller in. So that's it, really. I have 2 questions, although they're pretty big questions. Today, as I said, is way more about organizing than getting rid of. Creating a new system to store the things in there. Creating a place for things that don't have a place. finding places for things that do have a place and just aren't there because I couldn't be bothered to put them back. Rethinking how I'm storing things so that it is easier for me to go in there, find what I need, and put things back where they go. And trying to get rid of some furniture. With that, let's do this declutter. We'll separate, as usual, things into keep, donate, recycle, and trash. And then we will find a new system to organize and store how we're keeping, and hopefully transform that space a little bit to make it more usable for the projects that I have energy for and the things that I'm trying to do and all the stuff I'm feeling like I want to take on in there but can't because I can barely even move in the space.
All right, it's very bright in here, so apologies for that. Today, we are going to deal with this. Yep. Some of this, like this and this bag, are things that I've put aside to sell from previous declutters and then just shoved in this room and have slowly been listing, but not at the speed I should be listing them. So that needs to go somewhere and get dealt with, but I shoved it in here because it's the room that's the least in the way. Some of that is stuff I packaged up that I'm like, I can probably get rid of that. And some of that is like video and filming stuff. There's also this over here, which you saw in the decor video where I got rid of that shelf. So that's nice. I keep my patterns and some assorted things on that shelf. So I might keep that shelf and move it over here where this white thing is, or I might not. I also have to sort out this business. Some of that mess over there, like the trunk and the stuff stacked on it, that's Jonas's mess. So I don't think we're going to be doing a lot with that mess, but we can do a lot with the rest of this mess. So here we go. So when I was saying, is this enough to do something with? I mean, I keep all of these scraps of yarn. I have fabric scraps too. I actually already sorted that. This is the stuff that, I'm being generous, might be useful in a project, and then the rest is in this bag to go to textile recycling. But sometimes you just are like, oh, I need to grab some yarn to hold some stitches, or I have to do a provisional cast on, so I need some yarn. And I'm saving out things that are, you know, this much or bigger for things like that. But I also have like this or this, which are just not even lengths of yarn that are usable. I can get rid of that, but I have to sort it out of this tangle first. So we're going to be here for a while. So out of all of that, here is what we have that is worth keeping. And here's what we have that is not. Way to keep unnecessary scraps of yarn. Way to go. Anyway, now we have that. That's much more manageable. I've taken a break from that mess before I get in there to tackle these drawers in the console table. I have this Notions box and other things for sewing. So I'm hoping most of what's in these drawers I can find a place for in there and keep the drawers more organized with just the things I need. I want to keep the thread in the drawer because I do grab for that. Can't see it, but I have a plastic box that I had bought that's supposed to keep your thread and your bobbins organized, and it's over there and just sits over there, and I sometimes put things in it, but then I grab mostly out of the drawer, and it would be better if that was in this drawer so that when I'm sitting here sewing and I need more thread or a bobbin or something, I can stick my hand in this drawer and get the box and get the right things. So that's what I'm hoping we can do here. All right, are these drawers still kind of a mess? Yes. Are they better? Absolutely. This is now the thread drawer, and this has, these are parts for my other sewing machine, which I probably am going to get rid of. These are some notebooks I have, and then the manuals for the machines I have. And then this is scissors and some rulers and seam ripper and the tape measure and then my pins. So it's still not organized, but at least it's not the biggest mess ever right now. So gradual improvement. What I need to do next is go through this, which is effectively the envelope that holds all of my knitting needles that are not part of sets. As you can see by these empty packages, which I just throw around, they're not all in their sets. They're kind of everywhere. Some of these belong to Jonas, but I'm going to do my best to sort some of this out and at least try to get the needles back into their packages and into the correct slots in the envelope, which looks like this. So it's by sizes of needle, and yeah, these ones with the cables and the other, they're not supposed to be loose in here. They're supposed to be in their packaging. So I'm going to try to collect up all of the random needles and all of the random packaging that is all over this room and put them together and put them back in their slots. All right, I could not do any more yesterday. Sorry, Jonas is vacuuming. This side still looks like this. This side of the room is much nicer. So these drawers are organized now. I have to deal with this fabric that's everywhere, but that's like an in-progress project, and the stuff on the printer needs to be sorted out. The ottoman that was there is leaving. I cleared everything that was inside of it out of it. This bag here is trash. This bag here is stuff to donate. They're not quite full yet, so I'm going to keep putting things in there. I have to look through the yarn in this bin, so I think let's start there. We'll just kind of work, what is that, anti-clockwise? That is anti-clockwise, and deal with that at the end because that's going to be the biggest thing. So here we go. All right, another day, and this is definitely far from clean, but it looks better, and I am once again totally wiped out from doing this, so this is how it will stay, at least for a bit. This is the yarn shelf. These are things that I had set aside for like needing to be fixed. This, I know, this is a dress from Reformation. I literally just need to make these straps like this much shorter. It's a 5-minute fix. I can't figure out with these sweaters what is wrong with them. I don't think it's anything. I think they just need to be washed and blocked. So I saved them out to do that. The gold stuff is a project for my desk drawer that I haven't had time to get to yet. Everything on this shelf is, anything in bags is current knitting projects I found or started or whatever as I was cleaning. This is all sweaters that have to either be taken out and reknit or knit into something different or fixed. And these are things that need to be re-sewn or altered somehow. So that shelf honestly should have been cleared out by now because that stuff's been there forever. And hopefully that will motivate me to go through it quicker. This is fabric that I need to try to sell. This stuff is. So again, hopefully it'll motivate me to actually do that, and then I can get rid of this. That's my bag of project bags. This is my filming stuff. I don't really know what to do with that, so that's there for now. These are like my knitting needles and the scale and tools, and I need those somehow. I put a bunch of my in-progress sewing projects and some fabric stuff in that drawer. There's most of my fabric is in this bin right here. So it used to be on the shelf, but I thought it should be in a bin because it's easier to transport, and I honestly might get rid of most of that fabric at some point, but I don't know. My goal is to eventually sell all of that and fix all of that so that I don't have this shelf and I can move one of the smaller bookcases, that empty one over there, into here instead of this big one because it's broken. Here's stuff I'm donating, fabric, textile recycling, actual recycling, which I threw a lot of out already. This is the bag of trash. These are 2 things I'm actually just donating. And then I have a bunch of patterns to donate. I have this shelf to go to bridging, and then I have this to go to bridging, and then I'm getting rid of that yarn bowl and this sewing whatever kit. I have to put all this stuff back, but this is my drying mats and my cutting board, which will go somewhere. They might go over here, but I don't know. There's not a lot of space between the radiator and that outlet, and I like to keep the outlet clear. They used to just be over here, so maybe I can just push this stuff back and shove them back there or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. This has been a somewhat intense 2 days of work, and it's still not totally done. I still have a lot to do in here to truly be happy with this space, but it's all going to take time that I currently don't have and need to make time for. So that's where we're at. That pile of stuff in the corner, this one, that belongs to Jonas. That's not my mess. They can sort through their own stuff. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Tired again, and I just want to sit down and do nothing, but I have to edit the intro and the outro for this week's video so that you all actually have a video to watch. So that's what I actually get to do. Super great. Anyway, it looks much better in here. It still has probably a few more hours of work in it before I'm truly like, yeah, okay, we're good now. But I'm gonna take the small victory and say, at least you can use the middle of the floor now. So that's nice, right? Awesome. Well, thanks for following along with that. See you in a bit for the outro.
Hey everyone, welcome back. How was your miscellaneous day? How was decluttering the category of your choice? As predicted, I didn't really get rid of anything. I put some more yarn in the box of yarn I don't want that is now moved from the craft room to over there, and I still haven't gotten rid of or decided what to do with. I really just need to give it away. Somebody tell me to do that. Somebody just give me permission to give it away and reassure me that, yeah, you did spend a lot of money on it, but you're not going to use it, and it's okay if you just donate that to a charity shop and they sell it for 50 cents. And somebody can be really excited that they have really nice yarn for basically no money at all. Somebody tell me that's okay. That I've already spent that money. I have already supported those creators. I have already supported these things, and that it's okay. I just think I need that permission from someone other than myself. Let me know what you decided to declutter today, how it went. Leave some comments. What are you tackling that didn't fit into the convenient bins? Do you have more stuff that didn't fit into the ebook challenge and the categories that I've put forth so far? I do. So we will have another video next week with the same idea. How are you feeling about this? We'll do a reflection day week video in a little bit. Once we finish this miscellaneous decluttering, we're pretty much done with the physical decluttering, and then we move into making sure everything has a space, and then we do some decluttering of our digital spaces, and then we move into the more, I don't want to say philosophical or like intellectual because it makes me sound pretentious, but the non-tangible parts of this, the parts of this where we think about how we spend our time, what we do with our days, what drives and interests us. We start getting more into the you questions versus the your stuff in your space questions. This is the opportunity to say, let's take 2 weeks, finish up the simplification and organization of our physical space, and then let's move on to the simplification and organization internally in here. Let me know how you're doing, how today went, how's it going, and if you are liking this and you like this video and this content, give me a thumbs up. If you want to know about future videos, click the subscribe button and the notification bell. I will see you all in the next one. Bye!